You're in this pub in Littleton,
Yeah.
you've grabbed a beer, you've come out to this garden bar that we're sitting at right here, and you're having a ciggy, and you meet this bloke. Tell me what happened.
Well, basically, there was only the two of us here, so we started talking, like, how was your day been? I was like, yeah, not bad. And he's like, yeah, I've just come off being on the high seas for the last 6 weeks or so. And I was like, no way. You're out on the high seas all that time. Do you come across any great whites? Because I've been fascinated by sharks since I was a kid. And basically, yeah, he just says we come across them all the time. We catch some whiteys, we catch them all the time. And my initial thought was, oh, what, like tagging them for dock or measuring them? And he says, no, we fin them. We fin great whites. And I was like, what the?
Did you believe him?
No, not at first. No.
You thought he just put it in
Yeah,
your
I
leg?
thought it was a bit of bravado. And then he told me that he's got some video.
That's it, man.
The video is of a great white, possibly still alive, being rolled over and then jumped on by one of the fishermen. He goes on to slap it and pretends to make it talk.
G'day, my name's Bruce.
Being a budding journalism student, Andrew Brew took extensive notes during his meeting with the fishermen.
So he says that we catch whiteys all the time. We catch all types of sharks. We fin them. We fin great whites. And then I kind of, I was like, what the hell? I asked him, do you kill them before you fin them? He says, nah, it takes too long. It's just emotion, swish, 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 which is like the dorsal and the pectoral fins into the sea again. $50. Swish, 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 $50. Like a conveyor belt. No time to kill them. And then I said, well, but it's illegal in New Zealand, and great whites are protected species. And then he goes on to say, well, everyone's doing it. He said they sell for big bucks, and it's quick and easy, and it's my livelihood. That's when I asked him, have you got any moral issues about throwing them back into the sea, still alive? And he was like, no, not really. We don't have time to kill them. This is our livelihood. We've got families to feed. The quicker we are, the more cash we earn. We won't be able to do it forever, as they're introducing cameras on boats. But boats that don't have cameras will continue to do it until they do. It's rife, everyone's doing it. So, yeah.
Did you ask him about selling the fins?
I did, but he's just a deckhand. He's not the big player. But he did tell me that they get exported mainly to Vietnam. Yeah. And that and I asked him how they land them at the docks.
How do they land them?
Yeah, and basically, he says they don't. Like small little boats come and meet the big ship out at sea, and then bring them to loads of the secluded bays around the Canterbury coast, unload them there.
So you left the pub and just came down here. Listening to yarns about catching great whites was one thing, but Andy knew he needed the video proof. He would only get to see it once he'd left the pub.
So we sat down here, and he finally agreed to show me his video. Mm-hmm. And then after he showed it me, I said I really need a copy of that. And so he put his phone down here, like so, and then I videoed.
On the main street of Littleton?
Yep, just videoed it like that.
And was it that simple? He wasn't worried about you having it, or?
Well, it was. He kept pulling it away, and then a bit sheepish about it. But then once I convinced him that he would not be identified from it, then he let me take a video.
Yeah, that'll do it.
You can hear the nervous fisherman while Andy is recording.
I don't want his face in there, see?
No, your face is not in it, bro.
Yeah. Well, no.
No, please.
See?
Wait, 1 second.
No! That's my face.
Oh, bro, it's not your face, bro.
Come on, let me just get it, please.
There's often a bit of confusion about endangered, protected. Where are great whites exactly in the scheme of things?
So Under the Wildlife Act, they are absolutely protected. So that means that you're just not allowed to deliberately kill them. And if you accidentally kill one, like by catching it in a net, then you're not allowed to harvest it. So the idea is to discourage a market in fish products from great white sharks, so that there's not an incentive to catch them.
But there's always a black market, like anything.
That's why we need the cameras on the boats. If there was a camera on that boat, then there is basically almost no chance that the fisher would fail to report catching a great white. And then there's also almost no chance that they will illegally fin it as well. So that kind of behaviour stops.
We got Jeff Key to look at the video. He's from Forest and Bird and has long been advocating for cameras on boats.
Now he's kind of slapping it and it's kind of twitching. Now he's pulling its head right back and going back to slapping it.
So what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, if they took any part of that animal and they landed it, they broke the law. Like, they really seriously broke the law. If they didn't report catching the shark, then that is also an offence. In fact, if a commercial fisher fails to report, that's a $100,000 fine. So that's the only reason why this is happening is, of course, it's out of sight and out of mind.
Do you think this is like a one-off situation, or that it happens all the time? Because the information that we've been getting is that this happens quite a bit.
Well, I mean, what we've been looking at is comparing the reporting when there's observers on boats and reporting when there isn't. And what we see for seabirds, for example, is that fishers are not reporting catching seabirds nearly as much if there's nobody watching. So, it wouldn't surprise me if other things are happening as well. There's a lot of talk about discarding and about that being a really major problem.
Is that what's termed a bycatch?
Bycatch, people often refer to like the protected species. When you're talking about a shark, like a great white that is absolutely protected under law, catching that by mistake, as it were, is bycatch. But sometimes fishers also catch fish that they're allowed to keep, but it's not valuable enough, so they throw it overboard and then don't count it. And of course, that's also illegal. So we have a huge problem. A lot of what happens is out of sight and out of mind.
While none of the footage shows the shark being finned, Andy Brew believes that is what happened and what is happening.
So I'm satisfied from my interactions with the fisherman. I didn't instigate it. He said it off his own back straight away that we finned them. I didn't pry him. I didn't try and put words into his mouth. He just said it straight away. So I have no doubt that it was genuine. I have no doubt that there's a market there for it.
And you know also what great white shark fins are worth.
Well, great white shark fins fetch up to $10,000 a kilo in Hong Kong and other parts of Asia, as it's a delicacy, shark fin soup, and it's still happening all around the world. I've no doubt that there's a market there for it, and no doubt that it will continue until we get cameras on boats, all fishing boats.